morning. Just listened there's half an hour today in Parliament on Radio 4. The phrase that came to mind is, an honest man has no superior, which is how I was brought up. I had wonderful, elderly, gentlefolk parents, but that phrase is something that in my mother's milk, from my mother, especially that phrase from my mother. Well, there we are. I don't know where it comes from. Someone must have said it, probably Shakespeare. It might have been Plato. Well, it matters. Again, I should know where it is, but it's in the Old Testament, and my word is my bond. If you say you'll do something, well, either do it, or, if circumstances arise, well then have a plausible, sound reason why you couldn't fulfill whatever it might be. To me, that is normal human behavior. So they were discussing in the Lords, actually. The Lords are better than, it's a better train of debate. There's some very bright, experienced, knowledgeable people in the House of Lords. One of them was just, the gist of it being, I think it is now generally accepted that we have a Prime Minister who's basically a liar in Britain. But on the other hand, as it were, if we so sort of self-destruct to trash our own system of government and those who govern us and all that sort of, then we are doing, and again, this phrase is from the Greeks, those whom the gods wish to destroy, they first drive mad. Well, people seem to lose sight of the truth. Yes, I accept one person's truth. I mean, the classic one I can think of is, I think it was a law professor somewhere, students set up a scene where someone rushes through, shoots someone in the front row and then rushes out, and then questions asked as to what did you see, what did you see, what did you see, and extraordinarily everyone seemed to see something entirely different. So if you're just nodding off gently in the back, oh, it's that bastard law professor again, and boring. Oh, someone was shot. I say, you can be like, who was that now? Alice in Wonderland, wasn't it? Who was it? The one always dozing off. The point being, something can happen, and depending on you and your circumstances and etc., one's perception of that event as separate individuals in all good faith can be markedly different. That's the sort of point being made there. So then the legal system has to discern the wheat from the chaff. It's what's in here that matters. What your intention is. If your intention is to deceive, then there it is, through your words. I mean, again, there's this phrase used in various times and places by various people, but being economical with the truth. Well, there's also not to wear your heart upon your sleeve. I mean, people don't need to know all the ins and outs of something necessarily. They don't need to know all the gory details or etc. But by not saying all you know about something or whatever, if your intention is to convey what you believe to be the underlying truth, accuracy, integrity of the situation, then that is what one ought to do. I have huge difficulty with living in this country, Britain, I'm afraid. Both my father, who fought on the Somme in the First World War, I still centre part my hair, he was for the Royal Norfolk's King's Lynn, and my grandfather, who was a Guy's MD. He had a choice of Guy's, Tommy's and Bart's. That's Guy's Hospital, St Thomas's Hospital, and St Bartholomew's Hospital in London. He had scholarships to all three, and he chose Guy's. But again, he trained at Guy's in London, central London, right there. He didn't want to live in England. 1907 he qualified. I went and checked the records at Guy's. And he went out to southern Africa, to a small town called Bedford in the Eastern Cape. But I've actually just looked Bedford up, and it's between 8,000 and 9,000 people. I live in Alnwick in Northumbria here. Deliberately, I've chosen, God's chosen, I don't know, anyway, I'm here. And actually, its population is about 8 to 9,000, the sort of core population. Quite a lot of people turn up in the summer. So they're of comparable size, Bedford, Eastern Cape, and here, this town in Northumbria, Alnwick. Just a nice small country, rural town in a predominantly farming area, as is the difference being here is very, very green. I always remember flying in. Because of this, I was born in Cape Town, so I thought, oh no, there's not. I had a missionary ancestor as well, William Ross. I was born in Cape Town. I'm a white African by birth, but I'm British because my father was English. So flying back in from Africa, brown, 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 and then you come over this green and pleasant land. It's just such a contrast. If there's a clear sky, you come in flying into England. And that definitely is Shakespeare, a green and pleasant land. When I first found this particular Gregorian chant, it's sort of, I'm going to say antiphonal, but it's in Latin, most of which I understand. There's sort of a male side and a female, and they just kind of and it's just cycling. It's 5 hours, I think, but it's just to use Muso speak, it's a riff of about 5 minutes, I think. and then it just repeats. When I first found it, I just left it on all night. I just found it so beautiful. I've avoided becoming a Benedictine monk. Along the way, I am a Christian. Again, I can only try to be a better one. Christ's words, take up your cross and follow me each day. And that is how I try to live my life. At present, I'm having to fight like Billy-O in my personal circumstances here with the locals, the neighbours, not the town locals, and the police. Well, it's very painful. So what? What's my little bit of pain, quite frankly, compared to... So at this time of the day, here I am. I've got all the facilities I need. I've got food. I've got, obviously, fresh, clean drinking water straight from the tap. I've got electricity, gas if I needed it. In fact, tell you what, as they say in Scotland, what? Oh, the love of a good woman, that's the only thing missing. Oops, I let out my big secret. It's in the Gospels. I'm not quite sure if it's in all of them, but it's store up your treasures in heaven, but from the overflow of your heart, your mouth speaks. So the words that come out of your mouth are those things which you treasure and store up in your heart. My life, as far as I'm concerned, is a constant daily prayer, a constant daily conversation with God. That is how I live my life. Things that happen, people I meet, whatever. And I'm always weighing it up against Christ's words. Does it meet with, would it meet with Christ's approval? Amen.